It's great to have the Food Babe on with us to talk about some of these initiatives and some of the big news that's taking place. Russia's looking right now at completely banning all GMO, where they have pesticides that grow naturally in the crop. And by naturally, I mean they engineer it where it grows in the crop itself so bugs can't eat it, but then we can supposedly eat it. Big Pharma and Big Agra have obviously been lobbying so that we don't have labeling to know stuff like that is going on. So great to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me here today, Alex.
You bet. So where do we start? I mean, tell us about your show, what you're doing, and some of the big initiatives. Or let's say you're talking to new people that aren't worried about food, don't know what's going on. Most of our audience does, but if you had 5 minutes to warn somebody about what's going on and let them understand what's happening.
Well, there's been a mass deception of the food industry. The entire reason the food industry has been able to make millions and millions and millions of dollars and make more than was ever thought possible is because they are creating food in a laboratory that makes us either addicted to it, makes us reliant upon it, or is encouraging us through marketing tactics to thinking that we need that type of food. And the only food that we really do need is what comes naturally from the earth, that's grown by heirloom seeds, not genetically engineered in a laboratory, not made in a factory or a plant. And but we need to be eating plants. And I think the one thing that really upsets me and that really energizes a lot of people is understanding what's in ingredients. And when you look at the back of the package, and if you can't pronounce it, and if you can't even spell it, is it something that you really need to be eating? And when I tell people about, for example, an ingredient called azodicarbonamide that I just launched a petition today on foodbabe.com/subway, where this ingredient is a foamed plastic. It's used in yoga mat, in shoe soles, in synthetic leather. And it is a chemical, when you breathe it in, it causes asthmatic reaction. And this is a chemical that Subway bread is using. Subway sandwiches, all of their rolls, their deli style rolls, their 9-grain wheat bun, their oats, their honey oat, their Italian, their Monterey cheddar, all of those different ones have this chemical in it here in the United States, but not anywhere else across the globe. Not in the UK, not in Europe, not in Australia, not in Singapore. Actually, if you get caught using this ingredient in Singapore, you get put in prison, you get fined $450,000 because this chemical is very dangerous to deal with. But the food manufacturers here in the United States are allowed to use this ingredient because the FDA is asleep at the wheel, and the people running our food system are not everyday citizens like me and you, Alex. They are people who are out to make money. And those are the people, the big companies, the Frito-Lay, the PepsiCo, the Coca-Colas, the Subways out there are what is creating the discourse in this country. And I can't tell you, but one really thing that really energized me, and I apologize for the beeping. I'm gonna
That's okay. Again, Vani Hari, the Food Babe, is our guest here. And again, it's come out that all the big fast food chains use the silicone fluffer in their chicken McNuggets, you name it. I mean, and this is illegal everywhere. When China was executing people over melamine 5 years ago, Associated Press ran the headline, I saw it in the Washington Post, that, well, FDA says melamine's fine for kids' kidneys. So they execute you in China for it. Here, they just wave a magic wand and say it's fine, because this is being done on purpose. There's a reason we lead the world in cancer. But I mean, regardless, it's there, it's going on. No one else allows this but us.
That's correct. And, and when I talk about, who's running the food system in America, how it's really these corporations, you can even see the influence they're having when you look at just a week ago, where the First Lady of the United States has endorsed Subway sandwiches as safe for kids, saying it has the highest nutritional standards. Something that's made with bread that is completely not even whole. It's made up all these different chemicals, including that chemical azodicarbonamide. thalidomide, which is very dangerous. And, you have to realize that these corporations have a strong hold on our leaders who are making the decisions, who are preventing GMO labeling and preventing the elimination of these certain chemicals in our food. And they're really rising up against us in their own best interests and against our interest of being healthy and safe and clean and be able to live a really wonderful life. And I think that is what people need to realize, is that in order to eat food in this country, you really have to take control of your food back. You have to make it at home. You have to know where it comes from. You have to understand the ingredients on the label. You have to make sure it hasn't been sprayed with pesticides, that it hasn't made in the laboratory, and that, it's something that you can actually trust to put in your body that has high nutrition.
And you hit the key here with your research. If you go back to the 20s when there wasn't any regulation, big pharma and, of course, big oil had all these extra derivatives of oil, distillates as they call them, that they could turn into highly addictive substances. Most poisons are actually addicting. In fact, one of the most common addictions in England, if you go back over 100 years ago, was arsenic. But it's obviously very, very toxic and naturally occurring poison. But it also has an amphetamine-type effect. And so they learned to make all these addictive chemicals that would make you hungry right away, make you also feel bad till you got more. That's addictive. And when you look at all the hundreds of ingredients, I mean, I can't find children's candy, gum, now it's yogurt. It's over 10,000 items that doesn't have aspartame. But since people know what aspartame is, now they've come out with a bunch of molecules that are almost the same, but are in some cases even worse. And it's literally in everything. It's in potato chips now. It is just invading, and it's being used for social control. And then these very same companies lobby to make sure that we can't even have it labeled that something's GMO. So this is really big pharma for 90 years has been, I mean, take the Japanese military, as you know, but listeners may not know this. The Japanese military in World War I and in the war with the Russians after that couldn't get the Japanese, who were big foodies, to eat the canned food. So they found MSG, a toxic salt, that would make them eat it and want to eat more. Just like they know that aspartame gives you diabetes and makes you fatter and makes you want to drink more. That's all admitted now. Dr. Blaylock said it 20 years ago. Now it's in the news this year and last year. So I'm starting to be ranting. The point is, they know what they're doing. It's not an accident that they're doing this. Go ahead.
No, it's definitely not an accident. And, even the dairy industry has tried to lobby the FDA to allow aspartame and hidden artificial sweeteners in milk for kids. I mean, to think that they're lobbying them for these type of things, if it wasn't for the uproar of the consumers, people like me and you who talk about these issues, then they probably could have snuck this in. So from a consumer standpoint, it's really important for all the listeners to understand that you have a choice of what you put in your body and you eat every single day. And every single time you decide to put something in your mouth, that is a decision. That is a vote. That vote is more powerful than, I believe, even the power of the people we elect to put in office, because that money that we spend is the money that we are going to give to either the good guys or the bad guys.
Well, I mean, I've got Cass Sunstein's book over there on the shelf and about 50 others, let's not exaggerate, more like 100, where they talk about in the last 30, 40 years putting chemicals in food to control us. And so none of this is a secret for those of us that are informed. It's just the general public has grown up in this. And, hey, your cancer is up multi-thousand percentage points. It's only increasing, folks. We need to get off the – I mean, now that I don't eat fast food but every 5 years – I mean, I made it when I'm on the road and totally desperate, but I'll go hungry now instead of that, or go to a gas station and eat salted peanuts. I literally get ill. But people that are on it all the time aren't addicted.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The people who think that they've been eating fast food and it's not doing anything to their body and they don't feel bad, or they're like, I've been eating it for 10 years. There's nothing wrong with me. My acupuncturist told me this really great analogy. He said, when you have a pool of really dirty water and you put something dirty in it, you're not going to be able to identify it. You're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to be able to feel it. You're not going to be able to know it. But if you take a really clean body of water and you put something dirty in it, you recognize it right away. And that's why, Alex, you have those symptoms of feeling really bad when you eat that food, because your body hasn't adapted. The body's so miraculous. It adapts to all these pain receptors and everything to help it survive. And really, there's all of these, I believe, zombies out there that are just surviving on this fast food, and their body's adapting. And eventually, what happens is it starts to break down, and that's when cancer and diabetes and heart disease and all of these different ailments, autoimmune disorders, Alzheimer's disease, all these things start to happen later on in life. But, we have a choice right now. We have a choice of whether we want to experience that or not.
Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.